Bro, I gotta show you this, man. I was tweaking this. I've been tweaking all of my roster sets. This is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1. I have a total of 200 playable characters in my game, and they're separated in intervals of 50 characters per roster. I'm going to showcase what's called my Marvel versus Capcom set. So I'm just gonna jump in here. You can already tell a lot of the assets been replaced and upscaled, overhauled, renewed. A lot of the videos, as you can see here, are MCU based. I'm kind of but I'm a stickler for MCU content. So this right here is my Marvel vs. Capcom set. I'm gonna put in a code to unlock. Excuse me. I'm gonna put in the code to unlock the characters here. Okay, all characters unlocked. So this is Marvel vs. Capcom. I pretty much it's Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but the roster's been overhauled to only have Marvel vs. Capcom characters, spanning all the way back to the characters that are featured from pretty much Marvel vs. Capcom 1 all the way up to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And then on top of that, just to add a cherry on top, I needed a good placement for my Into the Spider-Verse or the ATSV movie characters, which are Miles Morales, Gwen or Spider Gwen, Spider Ham, and SPDR, which are just characters from the movie that they're animated, so they don't fit into my other MCU rosters. And you can see them up front; they're on the right. They're in the front row, towards the right, besides SPDR. Also on top of that, because on the far right, your right, on the bottom there, you see Chun Li, Ryu, Ken. Akuma's actually on the top left, but those are Street Fighter characters. The Street Fighter characters are actually Capcom characters that crossed over into Marvel vs. Capcom. Basically, they're part of the official roster for MvC 2 and really MVC in general, but they're part of the Marvel vs. Capcom base roster. Well, little do most people know, the original or the OG Power Rangers are technically Marvel vs. Capcom. Also, there was a game called Fight for the Grid, which is essentially just Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with just Power Rangers in it. But I noticed that there was a crossover with the Street Fighter vanilla characters being Chun Li, Ryu, and Ken into Fight for the Grid, which added more salt to the wound. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, Power Rangers is MVC. Like, there's no convincing me that they're not. Among other things, Power Rangers is on Disney Plus. If you don't know, Disney owns Marvel. Marvel versus Capcom is a crossover of Marvel and Cap. It's dude, just trust me, dude. But I think the thing that put the nail in the coffin, or just convinced me that I had to put the Power Rangers in my Marvel vs. Capcom roster specifically, and I'll just show an example here. I'm just gonna go through all of my characters are modified. They're upgraded to have a minimum of six costumes per character. I'm gonna put in a code here. Hopefully this is the right one. Yep, it unlocks all the costumes. As you can see, they're perfectly organized too. I'm pretty much a stickler for detail. But if you look at the very last one, MMPRG, that's the Mighty Morphing Power Rangers, and the G stands for Grid. It says Soaring Falcon Ranger. You're probably wondering what is that? Well, apparently the Street Fighter characters are officially Power Rangers, dude. They're freaking Power Rangers now. They apparently there was a crossover I missed at some point. I had no clue. But dude, this is it, man. This is it. This roster is so flawless now, dude. And again, I'm a stickler, or I'm very strict, or I'm very specific when it comes to detail. So this roster is it's flawless, dude. It's just straight up MVC. But as you can see here, MMPRG, Crimson Hawk Ranger. Look at it, dude. They changed Street Fighter characters into Power Rangers. It's canon. It's freaking canon, dude. And the lit, dude. I can keep going with this, dude. I can keep going. This is insanity, dude. So perfect. Oh my god. And then you have Jason David Frank, rest in peace. But Jason David Frank, if you don't know who Jason David Frank is, he's like, think of him as like the GOAT. Or he's like God tier level Power Ranger. He was one of the very first Power Rangers, Dude, when he came on the scene, he was the very first sixth Power Ranger. He was the Green Ranger initially, which is this one. But when he first came on the scene, dude, he just blew up. He was my childhood favorite. And then he just stayed, dude. He just like every series that came out after, he'd do something more new and more innovative. He became the White Ranger. He went basically from the color of money to the well, from the color of money to the color of prestige, which is white and gold. It's a very regal color scheme. But look at him, he's freaking Jason David Frank, bro. And it's not even just restricted to that, because recently, for Fight for the Grid, or I call it OG Power Rangers Grid, but for OG Power Rangers Grid, he came back and reprised his role as the White and or Green Ranger as Lord Draken. Look how cool that looks, dude. So crazy. It's so crazy. And I've already tested and played with each of these characters. They're phenomenal, dude. Getting my rule of thumb, I had to have six skins. Look at all the skins, dude. I got the White Ranger, the Green Ranger Bat in the Sun, which is like a YouTube web series. I have Red Zeo Ranger, which most people don't know. He played the Red Zeo Ranger, which is an example of him coming back in future versions or iterations of the Power Rangers. It's insane, dude. I have an unmasked version of them. It's so insane. So insane, dude. But yeah, I'm not gonna stretch the video out too long. This is my Marvel vs. Capcom roster here. As you can see, I carefully and meticulously added every character that I can think of from MvC, while at the same time not intruding at or on or repeating characters from my other MCU roster sets. There's a lot going on here. Another thing I want to point out too, my character models aren't just restricted to these old school 90s and cartoony models. There's a lot of movie models in here too. I'll show an example. See here for Gambit, he matches the mannequin. See the mannequin? First skin always matches the mannequin. That's like a rule of thumb for all of my characters. But as you can see here, Deadpool and Wolverine, that's the new movie that just came out this year. And Channing Tatum finally played Gambit, and he was flawless. But look at this model, dude. It's freaking Channing Tatum, dude. It's a movie skin. And my characters, majority of my characters, if they're from the MCU respectively, majority of my characters have MCU skins, which I've carefully planted in to each of the characters, which is pretty crazy, man. I just want to show off this skin. It looks so good, dude. And I love playing this Gambit. I found a booster for this Gambit too. The booster's insane. It's just old school Ultimate Alliance 2 Gambit with crazy improvements. And yeah, I just wanted to showcase this, bro. I just had to showcase this, man. It's done. This is my Marvel vs. Capcom roster. I'm not tweaking this, dude. Like this is the perfect Marvel vs. Capcom and Into the Spider-Verse combination. And in the future, I'm just gonna focus on my other two roster sets, my most important two roster sets, which is my MCU one and my MCU set two, which is my other 100 movie based characters. That's pretty much it. God bless.